financial markets have been rattled by President Trump's aggressive trade measures, sparking days of steep volatility and investor unease. As today, U.S. stocks opened low after earlier gains in the European and Asian markets. This happened as the EU put retaliatory tariffs against the US on hold after Donald Trump paused tariff hikes for 90 days. It all started on April the 2nd when markets plunged following the new tariffs targeting imports from China and other trade deficit nations. This followed through till the 4th of April when the Dow Jones dropped over 2,200 points, a 5.5% fall, among its worst point drops in history. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq also sank, with the Nasdaq slipping into bear market territory. Then on the 8th of April, the new reciprocal tariff system kicked in with 104% on China, 20% on markets fell again as investor measures and global. Following on to the emerged 20-day pause. Countries. The move sparked when the Dow gains though broader and now come of April when global markets bounced as the euro surged while the US after tariff hikes, causing further into markets. We are now joined by assistant producer for us the latest numbers. Naba, what have you got for us?
Hello Thomas. Markets are value now. Let's move on to industrial average, which is basically a stock market. 30 large publicly owned like Apple and Microsoft, see that it is currently down 27.40 to 2.45 by 8.17%. The numbers, but the market is down. That is what we can see. Now moving on to Nasdaq. Global electronic markets crucial for tech. We can again see down. This stock is also down 16,609 points. Market is low by 499 points by 2.94%. This is the current state of US S&P 500, which includes the 5 US publicly This market is also going down. It stands in 309 points. 103 points. It is 3%. Comes after of the tension to China. The markets will be fair. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Abba. We now move to Ross, risk analyst, to discuss. You very much joining us. Have the American the way that they have, given the contrast and the European market today.
And their submeasure of the marketplace, people taking into account the rise in tariffs, and they're looking for what kind of clear signals the future of international trade. Those signals are in a few weeks. What countries will the Trump administration for bilateral, possibly bilateral deals? To keep in that the Trump administration has said that countries to have bilateral negotiations, and the Trump to do that, but prioritize. They can't talk at the same time. So paying attention or on the priority list, and then we'll run that in the marketplace.
This is based around uncertainty, and how do you the average feeling about the United States that Donald flip-flapped regarding these tariffs?
Retail investors, especially people who for the future or rely on to some extent fixed in their retirement account. The retail investor, the average, certainly very worried and get very scared by law in preceding days. They're about the recovery. Investors, again, they're probably looking about which countries are going to be forward options, and then they'll make their market move, either country specific after the sense more clear which countries will get prioritizations.
Contrast to the 34% tariffs that were originally put on China, we now see a 25% tariff put on the US, the only that doesn't have a 10% levy. We, after this announcement, did see the Chinese markets still. What are your thoughts on that?
There's been a lot of government in China. They do that could enter the marketplace to be bring an end to volatility. And everybody knows that, not a secret. Chinese government can do it. But I think retail are very nervous. The trajectory for U.S.-China institutional investors as well, to the extent in domestic equities, seeing if China could stimulate consumer spending. All experts have been saying that it really put its footing and return to the over 5% growth. Domestic. The problem is Chinese people, rather than spend washing machines in their state at the moment. So that's a big issue for the Chinese.
Ross, what do you think of the public negotiations between China and the U.S.? Obviously, the mouthpiece putting them forward. He's using fruitful language to put the countries that are wanting to make these deals. Premier Xi Jinping has spoken mostly through this and spokespeople. But still, what do you think of these appearances by the two in the world, and how do you think to those two?
Approach. Trump takes questions from the media, the Oval Office, or before he gets on a helicopter, questions, and he's very direct in his style. Chinese government agencies, recent spokesperson, has also taken a very tough line when China trade. But hopefully it's all posturing, and we'll begin to go kind of deal. Did in January of 20, what's called the so we have that precedent, and followed on what war that began in 2018, using tariffs on certain Chinese. Precedent is there for tough talk, and we'll see it all true for this.
Ross, talking to you. Thank you for move on.